Dependence makes you do things that many may consider immoral. Be it stabbing an all-weather ally in the back or doing business with a country you are fighting a proxy war with. France, for example, it is one of the loudest supporters of Ukraine. It is sending military aid to Ukraine, urging the entire world to support Kiev. But secretly, France is also doing business with Russia. Is that breaking news? Or did you see this one coming? Let me get to the story. Yesterday, a curious cargo arrived in the French port of Dunkirk. This cargo was seen being unloaded from a Russian vessel. This ship had set sail from St. Petersburg, Russia. What was it really carrying? Enriched uranium, 25 cylindrical containers full, packed especially for France from Russia with love. The same Russia, by the way, that France is engaged with in a proxy war in Ukraine. And France was also one of the first countries, remember, to condemn Russia for invading Ukraine. On the 24th of February 2022, the French President Emmanuel Macron had asked Russia, remember, to quote-unquote immediately put an end to its military operation, adding that France stands in solidarity with Ukraine. It stands by the Ukrainians and is working with its partners and allies to end the war. And that has been the French narrative ever since, that Paris is doing all that it can to end the war. Secretly, though, at the same time, France has actually been giving money to Russia, striking business deals with Russia for enriched uranium. In fact, Paris has bought at least 7 cargoes of enriched uranium from Moscow since the start of the war, as per a claim. I repeat, 7 cargoes of enriched uranium. You know what's the irony of it all? The cargo enriched uranium, a material used for nukes. But France is using Russian uranium to run its nuclear power plants.
So guys, who does this surprise? Does this actually surprise anyone with France buying enriched uranium from Russia? Not only France is doing this, Germany is still buying oil, Holland is still buying oil, America is still buying oil, and a few other countries are still buying oil from Russia. Because do you actually believe that these people stand in solidarity with Ukraine? They are using him basically to test out the new weapons and having a proxy war to drive down the cost of oil, because they wanted to cap the oil to $60 per barrel. It's for them to pay less. So oil is still flowing through Ukraine and still flowing to the pipeline that they so-called turn off, right? So even though they're sending aid to Ukraine, they're still giving billions of dollars to Russia via buying the oil. So, and these countries, Germany, Holland, America, France, they want to get re-elected. They honestly believe that citizens are going to give up their freedom, not freedom, they're going to give up their comfort for Ukraine. For instance, it's cold time now. Do you think French citizens going to sit down in the cold because they don't have gas and they want heat? They're going to say, okay, we'll suffer the cold because of we're in solidarity with Ukraine, so they don't have to give Russian cash for the oil. These people want their heat during cold time. No one is gonna give up their heat for this. And this is the reason why Russia can lose. And the longer the war goes on, the more damage Ukraine gonna take, and the more money Russia gonna make, because enriched uranium is not cheap. Buying crude from Russia is not cheap. It's gonna cost us some money, and they're getting, I think, 40 cubic amount of oil is around 100 million roughly, and these countries are buying more on this. And remember, they did say that by 2027 they want to come off of Russian oil. That's 4 years from now. You think the war gonna last for another 4 years? So by the time, say 2025, when the war died down and Ukraine finally give up and Russia is the winner, do you think they're gonna make a U-turn and say, oh, we don't want Russian oil? They're gonna continue to take it because it's cheaper and it's more feasible for them, because they have to spend billions of dollars to create their own pipeline and to have their own wells. And Saudi Arabia not selling to most of these countries. Iran definitely not selling to them, especially America. Venezuela, no way, because they sanctioned Venezuela and Iran for decades. They are the Saudi Arabia is the only place they could get oil, and Saudi Arabia is about to join BRICS, so they're losing a partner again there. So America tried to blue force, tried to bully Saudi Arabia recently when they said that they want to cap, as I said earlier, the cost of oil to $60 per barrel, and Saudi Arabia said, hell no, you can't do that. And they threatened to pull all their military resources from Saudi Arabia. Again, Russia gonna step in when that happens, because when Mali and Burkina Faso kicked out the French army 2 weeks ago, who came and filled that gap? The Russians. So the Russians will not lose. These people are built for war. They've been fighting wars for decades. No country haven't defeated them so far. So I don't see, and all these people who say they're in solidarity with Ukraine. Remember now, when they went to the summit of the EU, and he went and he gave this big speech, everyone was on their feet clapping, and yes, we're in solidarity and we're for Ukraine, and we're gonna cut our oil dependency on Russia, and we're gonna give you weapons and aid. Turns out, nah, because they want to be re-elected, and if you make your country suffer for another country, what do you think the citizens gonna do? They're gonna replace you. And that's what's happening in Germany. They have mass protests. In America, in France now, they have protesters burning down buildings, and you don't see this nowhere on the national news. But the issue in Somalia, in the Congo, and the issue in Tunisia with the peaceful demonstration, it's all over the social media. It's all over every media network. But the France burning, they're literally burning buildings and demonstrating. And that's, if I don't even know if some of you would have ever even heard of it if I didn't say it. Look it up, you'll find it. Because and other countries, in the States, you have mass demonstration. In Germany, you have mass demonstration going on about this war. They want the war to end. They don't want to support the war anymore. But they're hiding all this stuff on the major networks. You only see these things on YouTube in clips here and there. So hopefully you can realize that for all those who are saying solidarity, what would you give up for the Ukrainians to win this war? What will you give up? And that's just a question. What will regular everyday citizens give up? Will you give up turning off your water for your day so they spend less money on oil to pump water for you? Will you turn off a couple lights? Would they use less heat? Well, this for the Europeans. Would they use less heat in the colder winter so they use less gas? They tried it, it didn't work. Because people wasn't, in the beginning, yeah, but after a while, people care about themselves and their family. No one gonna be hurting because of our next country, which it's a self-inflicted wound, in my opinion. And this comes back to Africa. Africans, stop listening to anybody who come in and give you the aid. I remember recently Macron went over Africa talking to different countries and making promises. Promises is not a good thing to accept from anybody. If it's not put in writing, and not only in writing, it have to be ratified in these countries' Congress, and in their it have to be put into law and signed before and ratified before you say yes to what they're saying is true. Don't take yes, we're gonna help and this is gonna do that. Look what France just did. They gave weapons to Ukraine. They gave money to Ukraine. We even went to Ukraine, walking and shaking hands and hugging babies and all that. Now look what they're doing. They're still buying oil, still buying enriched uranium from Russia. And they try to do it under the mask of something else. And every country who's doing this, who's getting oil from Russia, not one of them stopped taking oil, including America, who is the biggest one, who's sending over $100 and something billion to Ukraine. They are still buying oil from Russia, but not directly, indirectly. So, what do you think about that? Anyway, leave a comment in the comment section, let me know what you think. As always, tell a friend, tell a friend, Like, share, comment, and subscribe. So peace, one love, boom.